Hi, it's Becky with a story for you. We're getting away from Winnie the Pooh for a little bit, and we have a really good story, another one for ages about 5 through 8. It's a one that's been around for a while. It's a favorite of mine. It's a dear favorite of my husband, and it is called Mike Mulligan and His Steam Shovel. This book and the pictures are by Virginia Lee Burton. It is also a Caldecott winner. I did not look up what year that Miss Burton won the Caldecott Award for this, but the Caldecott Award is for illustrations. So, Mike Mulligan and His Steam Shovel. Mike Mulligan had a steam shovel, a beautiful red steam shovel. Her name was Mary Ann. Mike Mulligan was very proud of Mary Ann, and he said that she could dig as much in a day as 100 men could dig in a week, but he had never been quite sure that this was true. Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann had been digging together for years and years. Mike Mulligan took such good care of Mary Ann that she never grew old. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who dug the great canals for the big boats to sail through. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who cut through the high mountains so that the trains could go through. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who lowered the hills and straightened the curves to make long highways for the automobiles. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who smoothed out the ground and filled the holes to make landing fields for airplanes. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who dug the deep holes for the cellars of the tall skyscrapers in the big cities when people used to stop and watch them. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann used to dig faster and better when people watched. The more people stopped, the faster and better they dug. Some days they would keep as many as 37 trucks busy taking away the dirt they had dug. Then along came the new gasoline shovels and the new electric shovels and the new diesel shovels and took all the jobs away from the steam shovels. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann were very sad. All the other steam shovels were being sold for junk or left out in old gravel pits to rust and fall apart. Mike loved Mary Ann, and he couldn't do that to her. He had taken such good care of her that she could still dig as much in a day as 100 men could dig in a week. At least he thought she could, but he wasn't quite sure. Everywhere they went, the new gas shovels and the new electric shovels and the new diesel shovels all had jobs. No one wanted Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann anymore. Then one day, Mike read in a newspaper that the town of Popperville was going to build a new town hall. "We're going to dig the cellar of that town hall," said Mike to Mary Ann, and off they started. Sad with all the steam shovels. There they go to start their new journey. They left the canals and the railroads and the highways and the airports and the big cities where no one wanted them anymore and went away in the country. They crawled along slowly up the hills and down the hills till they came to the little town of Popperville. When they got there, they found that the selectmen were just deciding who should dig the cellar for the new town hall. Mike Mulligan spoke to Henry B. Swap, one of the selectmen. "I heard," he said, "that you are going to build a new town hall. Mary Ann and I will dig the cellar for you in just one day." "What?" said Henry B. Swap. "Dig a cellar in a day? It would take 100 men at least a week to dig a cellar for our new town hall." "Sure," said Mike, "but Mary Ann can dig as much in a day as 100 men can dig in a week," though he had never been quite sure that this was true. Then he added, "If we can't do it, you won't have to pay." Henry B. Swap thought that this would be an easy way to get part of his cellar dug for nothing, so he smiled in a rather mean way. The thought of digging the cellar of the new town hall, he gave the job to Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. Make sure you can see the pictures good. They started in early the next morning, just as the sun was coming up. Soon a little boy came along. "Do you think you'll finish by sundown?" he said to Mike Mulligan. "Sure," said Mike, "if you stay and watch us. We always work faster and better when someone's watching us." So the little boy stayed to watch. Then Mrs. McGillicuddy, Henry B. Swap, and the town constable came over to see what was happening, and they stayed to watch. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dug a little faster and a little better. Here they're coming. This gave the little boy a good idea. He ran off and told the postman with the morning mail, the telegraph boy on his bicycle, the milkman with his cart and horse, the doctor on his way home, the farmer and his family coming into town for the day, and they all stopped and stayed to watch. That made Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dig a little faster and a little better. They finished the first corner neat and square. But the sun was getting high. It's all the people coming to see. Watch them dig. Clang, clang, clang. The fire department arrived. They'd seen the smoke and thought that there was a fire. Then the little boy said, "Why don't you stay and watch?" So the fire department of Popperville stayed to watch Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. When they heard the engine, the children in the school across the street couldn't keep their eyes on their lessons. The teacher called a long recess, and the whole school came out to watch. That made Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dig still faster and still better. They finished the second corner, neat and square, but the sun was right up to the top of the sky. There's the fire department coming. And there's Mike Mulligan. Now the girl who answers the telephone called up the next towns of Bangerville and Bopperville and Kipperville and Copperville and told them what was happening in Popperville. All the people came over to see if Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel could dig the cellar in just one day. The more people came, the faster Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dug. But they would have to hurry. They were only halfway through and the sun was beginning to go down. They finished the third corner, neat and square. Never had Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann had so many people to watch them. Never had they dug so fast and so well. And never had the sun seemed to go down so fast. "Hurry, Mike Mulligan, hurry, hurry," shouted the little boy. "There's not much more time." Dirt was flying everywhere, and the smoke and steam were so thick that the people could hardly see anything. But listen, bing, bang, crash, slam, louder and louder, faster and faster. Then suddenly, it was quiet. Slowly, the dirt settled, and the smoke and steam cleared away. And there was the cellar, all finished. 4 corners, neat and square, 4 walls straight down, and Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann at the bottom, and the sun was just beginning to go down behind the hill. "Hooray!" shouted the people. "Hooray for Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel! They have dug the cellar in just one day." Move my fingers here so you can see the picture really good. There they are. Suddenly, the little boy said, "How are they going to get out?" "That's right," said Mrs. McGillicuddy to Henry B. Swamp. "How's he going to get his steam shovel out?" Henry B. Swamp didn't answer, but he smiled in a rather mean way. Then everybody said, "How are they going to get out?" "Hi, Mike Mulligan! How are you going to get your steam shovel out?" Mike Mulligan looked around at the 4 square walls and the 4 square corners, and he said, "We've dug so fast and so well that I've quite forgotten to leave a way out." Nothing like this had ever happened to Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann before, and they didn't know what to do. Stuck in the hole. Nothing like this had ever happened in Popperville. Everybody started talking at once, and everybody had a different idea, and everybody thought that his idea was the best. And they talked and they talked and they argued and they fought till they were worn out. And still nobody knew how to get Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann out of the cellar they dug. Then Henry B. Swamp said, "The job isn't finished because Mary Ann isn't out of the cellar, so Mike Mulligan won't get paid." And again he smiled in a rather mean way. Now, the little boy, who had been keeping quiet, had another idea. He said, "Why couldn't we leave Mary Ann in the cellar and build the new town hall above her? Let her be the furnace for the new town hall. And let Mike Mulligan be the janitor. Then you wouldn't have to buy a new furnace and we could pay Mike Mulligan for digging the cellar in just one day." The people arguing and fussing. Sweet, smart little boy. Sometimes when you wait and be quiet, you come up with the best ideas. "Why not?" said Henry B. Swamp, and smiled in a way that was not quite so mean. "Why not?" said Mrs. McGillicuddy. "Why not?" said the town constable. "Why not?" said all the people. So they found a ladder, and they climbed down into the cellar to ask Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. "Why not?" said Mike Mulligan, and so it was decided, and everybody was happy. They built the new town hall right over Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. It was finished before winter. Every day, the little boy goes over to see Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, and Mrs. McGillicuddy takes him nice hot apple pies. As for Henry B. Swamp, he spends most of his time in the cellar of the new town hall listening to the stories that Mike Mulligan has to tell. Ch-ch, kitty. And smiling in a way that isn't mean at all. One more page. Now, when you go to Popperville, be sure to go down in the cellar of the new town hall. There they'll be, Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. Mike in his rocking chair, smoking his pipe, and Mary Ann beside him, warming up the meetings in the new town hall. There they are. Oh, goodness. Now, here's some interesting information for you. This book was written quite a while ago. Did you notice the fire department? They had a horse and buggy to pull it. So it was a very old time frame. A steam engine is one that works with coal. And you have to shovel the coal in and it makes the fire big and it makes the steam come up. And that is how Mary Ann ran. Mike Mulligan would have to load the steam into her, just like old-fashioned train engines worked. And so when the new kinds of engines came along with the gasoline and the electric, they worked it differently, and it's easier and more efficient, or works better for longer time frame. That's the kind of cars and things we have now, but I didn't know if you quite knew what a steam engine was, and so that's a way to learn a little bit more about time before us and how we've improved things in life. So this is a special book that I read to share with you, and I hope you liked it. Please let your parents know. That way they can push like, and if you have your favorite part of the story or who your favorite character is or what you like best about it, well, you just have them write that in the comments, because I would love to hear from you. And subscribe to my page and you get to see all my new stories when they come up. Thank you so much, boys and girls. I've really enjoyed this time with you.